Hey, John.
Hey, hey! Happy Good Friday, everybody!
So, what do you have for us today? Is it going to be a Good Friday song or is it going to be something about rental?
No, it's gonna be a rental song because it's 1 week overdue. Since you all chose rental, right? And someone recommended this. I can't remember who recommended it now, but good recommendation. So I had to go and research it. And then I've been sitting on it for a whole week because we swapped topics last week.
And Stefan also, he actually texted me today and he says,
Ah,
for today's song, I suggest Pet Shop Boys Rental.
wow.
And give me the
Your
lyrics
wish-
and all.
Your wish has come true, Stefan. Shall I?
Yes, take it away, John.
Okay, here we go. So I need to get into my Pet Shop Boys mode. Okay. You dress me up. I'm your puppet. You buy me things. I love it. You bring me food. I need it. You give me love. I feed it. And look at the two of us in sympathy and sometimes ecstasy. I never want anything. It's easy. You buy whatever I need. Look at my hopes. Look at my dreams, the currency we've spent. I love you, you pay my rent.
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Live, ladies and gentlemen. With us, your host, the Prince of Paranormal, the Sultan of Supernatural, and the immortal man before time, Jonathan Lim.
My age seems to be extending further and further into prehistory, right?
Yeah. Your original name was Adam, is it?
Not Lilith. Okay. I feel like a dinosaur. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome. Lots of familiar faces here today. We must celebrate our first time newcomer. First time first comer. Right? This is Cat Bite Nine Tails. I
Wow.
hope that's how you pronounce your nickname. But welcome. Good. Congratulations to you. Zone Nava was second. Wichi Umeko was third. Paris Maitreya dropped until fourth already. Che.
He lao jiao already. He can afford to let you all Sing Jiao go first.
Not ganchong. Okay, thanks for joining us, everybody, on this Good Friday. I hope you guys had a good day. I hope it wasn't too hot for you. Yikes. Futile hopes. I must address this comment one of you put in here, which is very mysterious now. LWJ says, "Nice seeing John in the wild at Bedok a few weeks back." And I'm just thinking, how? Did I transform into a wild boar and run to Bedok in the middle of the night? What are you talking about, LWJ? Please let me know. I'm very rarely in Bedok. Was I in Bedok? I did go and visit Eugene, but that was in Tampines. And that was more than a few weeks back. So I don't know. Let me know, LWJ, where you saw me.
Probably saw another bearded man lah. Then think, hey,
Doppelganger. Yeah.
Your hantu raya.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was really me. But if you do see either of us in the streets, do come up and say hi.
Yeah.
Verify that it's us, because we need to know if there are people impersonating us.
Well, welcome back, everybody. It's always nice to see you guys on a Friday night. And do like and share, please. Also, we want to give thanks to our very important people every week without fail, or every month without fail. They support this channel. And sometimes even ad hoc on the channel itself, Friday Night Live, they put in some blessings as well. And these people are, wrong poster. Patreon.com/Supernatural Confessions. These are our very valued patrons. Elaine Chua, Tunku Alsatian, Mko Grim, ZP Matt, Queen Lai, Lim Tek Chuan, Elvin Sensei VL, Casey Chan, Alex O, Janice Ang, Jacqueline N, Yong Kwan Yu, Han J, Jerwin, Dato Easy, Starving Jack. Wandering Spirits, we have Joel Go, Deborah Confield, Chia King To, Linda Hayden, LEX, Jess Neo, Jerry Fish, Bibit Teo, Te Hakwi, 2 Cents, Elvin Lim, Kenny Polaris, Jayanti, Saritsu, TTB, Jujube, which I just realized Jujube is a word that means no sweat. ZP, Davindes, Gary Fu, Isaac Lam, Martin, Don, Ed A, Yao Siu, J, Restless Souls, Sichieto, Grace Chai, Candy Chia, Ron K, Jack Ong, Nicholas Pua, Burke, Serin Tan, Rachel Y, Kevin C, Lakshmi, Julian Tan, David, and Kabilan. Also, we have some new names that I need to add to this list very, very soon.
Ooh. And a big thank you to Raven, who has given us a big blue box of love. Thank you for your donation, Raven. What Raven's doing is what we call the super chat. So if you guys find that you have a question or a comment or a statement that you want to really share and you want to make sure that no one misses it, because Eugene and I tend to get a bit distracted between reading comments and reading confessions, and so pop in any amount of money in that $sign at the bottom of the chat box, and it will appear in a highlight, and we cannot not say cannot miss it lah, but highly unlikely that we will miss it.
And also want to comment that I actually noticed Raven has done this 3 weeks in a row. First.
Wow.
Right? You realize or not? Raven pops up first. First donation every week.
Thank you. Is there a new badge for that?
I'm not sure, but I think Serene Tan had a badge that says 10 times.
Wow.
Remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Raven, go for it. Go for 10. Go for 10. Wow.
Alrighty. So today's theme is on rooms for rent. And though it may sound familiar to you, John and I, we've had, what's the word called? Where you thought it's like that, but it's not. Mandela effect.
We have Mandela effect.
Yeah.
We were confused because how many of you sort of remember last season we talked about rooms for rent, right? Didn't we? Right. So I remember, I distinctly remember an episode, right? And when I talked to Eugene about it, I was like, yeah, that episode. So we were planning to do a callback to that episode, right? And we even talked about the episode during our live show. One of the MCQ questions was from that episode. And then today, Eugene found out.
Not true. There was no episode in 2023 that talks anything about room rental. However, I found I found your clip we talked about just now, John, but I'll tell you that in a while. We have 3 episodes that were quite close to today's theme. One of them, it's Buyer Beware, House is Haunted, episode 12.
I remember that.
Check out episode 12, April 28th. The second Haunted House episode was Haunted House for Sale, episode 34, October 20th.
Wow, okay.
And the only episode that was close to rental is called For Rent, but there's nothing to do with rental houses. It's rental equipment, rental costume, and rental structure, rental car.
Wow. Okay,
That's episode...
That's the real Mandela. Okay, which episode is that?
37, 17 November.
And which one was our favorite Toyogo episode from?
So the Toyogo Box episode is from Haunted House for Sale, episode 34, October 20th. You know what? I'm just going to... I did you guys a favor. Instead of going in to click, try to scroll here, scroll there, I've got the clip ready for you.
Wow.
Shall we watch it, John?
Come, let's travel back down history.
After my divorce, I moved out to a rented flat in Kembangan. I needed a place to stay and wasn't fussy, so I took the cheapest and most available unit I can find in the area. It was a good deal. I rented a room, but I had literally the whole place to myself because the landlord is hardly home. Also, the contract term was just for 3 months and renewable if I wanted to extend. The owner was looking for a buyer, so this arrangement was just temporary and it suited me just fine. The house was something you would come to expect of a place where the landlord doesn't care. He probably has a property elsewhere. This was more like a storeroom for him. There are Toyogo boxes piled high in the living room and cobwebs on the ceiling. There's a still musty smell to the place, but since I wasn't staying there for long, I didn't let it bother me. Only problem was that every time I brought a female companion back, something would happen to spook them out and they would leave urgently. Happened many times. The pattern always repeats itself. All cited getting strangled, pinched till there were blue blacks and bruises, hearing a loud growl by their ear, and sightings of a tall shadow figure by the doorway or in the corner. Eventually, I managed to find another rental apartment 3 months later and moved out of that place.
That was a fantastic confession. Firstly, because it was really extremely weird, right? It was sort of serial haunting of all his potential girlfriends, right? Which was quite a good dissection. But I think it was that confession was made famous by the fact that because of that, Eugene now believes that there is only one flat with Toyogo boxes in it.
Yeah. Whole of Kembangan, there's only one flat with Toyogo boxes.
So if you ever come across Toyogo boxes, it must be the same flat. Okay, but okay lah. That was a little MSA mistake.
Okay, so today we have episodes for you, fresh, that came from our community members, and I will also have some honorary mention for some people who have submitted their confessions to me. They form together, these small anecdotes form a greater picture of rental houses haunting.
I mean, it's kind of exciting because I think the reason why we were so convinced that we've talked about it before is because it is such a classic trope in horror tales, right? You know, the idea of moving into a stranger's house and taking on the legacy of whatever the hell they've been up to. Common sense, right? Common sense. 9 out of 10 rented houses must be haunted, right? And the last one has Toyogo boxes, right? So it feels natural. It feels common sense. So it's kind of nice to do a full episode just dedicated to haunted rentals.
I'm going to share one before we start our 3 featured haunted rental rooms.
Yep.
I've got one story to share with you. So I was talking to this guy. I think it's Jeff or Jeremy. Either one. Start with a J.
Jeremy.
Okay. And he said he was living in a rented room, the kind that is near the window. The window is near the corridor.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there was a funeral. And every day during the funeral and 7 days after, because the funeral, basically his neighbor passed away lah.
Okay, sure.
So every night he would feel or hear the sound of the neighbor coming back. You know, the slipper, the shh, 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 shh.
Yikes.
Right.
Okay.
It's an elderly man, right? So when he walks, I mean, if you live in HDB in Singapore, you roughly can tell which neighbor is coming home. Like my neighbor, opposite my house. 11 o'clock every night, he will come out. You hear the door slam, the dustbin will open, he will drop it in, and he'll come back. HDB have that kind of pattern. So
Sure. Yeah.
so he's like, isn't that guy already dead? Why is he still walking back? So I said, oh, this sounds like a very good start to a haunted rental confession. Tell me more. No, I didn't see. I didn't look out the window. That's it. That happened. And that's it. That's all the story I have for you.
Quack, quack, quack.
But I love it because you could tell that the confessor was really spooked out as he was telling,
Yeah.
and I could feel that, right? He was like, every night I can hear the sound, but you never check. I got no story to tell. Yeah.
I mean, to be very frank, these half confessions are probably the most genuine ones.
Yes.
Because the real response will be, don't find out.
Don't find out.
Don't find out. You don't want to know the ending of this story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay lah.
But I love them all. I'm a horror movie junkie. So anytime someone comes out with a confession, they usually tell me, Eugene, I think my confession may not be good enough. I like, don't shortchange yourself. You tell me, I will be the judge. And quite frankly, whatever you see online is, with edits and everything right? And most times, these people who, no lah, Eugene, I think mine is simple, mine is short. It's not short, it's not simple, and it's very scary. Today, we have some of these people's confession that I really want to share with you guys. John, you want to take the first confession?
Can, but first of all, I must highlight Candy Chia has just shared. I used to rent everywhere, and everywhere I can see. That's pretty much the premise that we are working on as well.
Yeah, Candy Chia, in case you guys don't know, she has a third eye. And I think she's one of our confessor as well last year.
Yep.
Look for Candy. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mark Sipo is asking why John is bathed in red light. Ooh. I don't think you're ready for the answer. But okay, later on I'll talk the red light.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's go to our first.
You don't know, man. John's house is Hitanki, what was his home temple.
No, someone else is saying red light district.
Oh.
Station is saying. It's true. I'm very near the red light district, so maybe that's why I'm celebrating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Side hustle. Okay, John.
Ooh, you cannot do that from the side.
Well, our first confession that we have for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this one is titled Help Me, Help You. And this story took place in Horizon Hill, Johor Bahru. So to all our Malaysian listeners, boleh.
After I retired at the age of 65, I decided to move to Malaysia to live. I rented out my flat in Singapore, and with the proceeds, I was able to rent a prestigious home in Johor Bahru and live a quality life. My wife had passed away from cancer a few years earlier, and my kids had their own plans. I found a townhouse at Horizon Hill, and it was perfect for my lifestyle needs. The home belonged to a Muslim family, and from the house decor, I reckon they must be very pious. They had Islamic texts all over the place. Since I was living there on a long-term contract, I decided to spruce up the place and make it my own. I asked for permission to repaint the place and to bring in my own furniture, and they obliged. No fuss, landlord. I may or may not have asked about the decor, but I assumed that they were okay with me removing them. I wrapped them up nicely and placed them in one of the spare bedrooms that I had converted into a storeroom. That's when I started noticing minor changes around the house. I was the only one living there, with a cleaner coming in once a week. And yet, I would come home and find cupboards open, television turned on. I always have the habit of turning off electronic devices when I leave the house, so I'm quite sure it was not me going senile. Some nights when I'm watching television, the power will just turn off by itself. I checked the main power box, but nothing had tripped, just the television that was turned off. But that wasn't all. My air conditioner too would turn off in the middle of the night. I thought the circuits were wonky in the house. I treated my cleaner well, always giving her a little bit more coffee money. So I think she must have felt compassionate for me. So she decided to do something good for me. Usually I would just leave the money by the door for her. But one day I came home earlier than usual and she was still in the midst of cleaning. And the house was smoky. From the front door, it looked like the house was on fire. That's how much smoke there was. Naturally, I asked her why she was smoking up the house. The scent was quite pungent, very overpowering. That's when she explained that she had been burning kemenyan on my behalf. We started talking, of course. I wasn't mad at her. I was quite curious. That's when she told me that my house had a jinn and it didn't like me very much. So she had intervened. She came from a family of witch doctors and said she could see these things from a young age. The jinn had lived there all along, and when I removed the Quranic verses, it felt offended, and it had been trying to communicate with me all this while, but I just couldn't see or hear it. In fact, the jinn was standing in the room with us at that exact moment. Feeling a tad silly, I asked what it wanted. I didn't believe her fully, but at the same time, I was curious. I asked if she could help to be our interpreter, and she obliged. The jinn demanded that the Quranic verses be placed back. I respectfully declined. In the end, we settled on just one verse, the main one, to be placed at the entrance for the front door, because without it, other entities could freely walk into the house, and the jinn didn't want that. Secondly, the jinn wanted us to keep up with the smoke offerings at least once a week. In return, it would safeguard the house when I was not around. I asked for clarification, and my cleaner said that if someone decides to break into one of these houses, my house would disappear from their view. Thirdly, no pork items to be brought home. That wasn't a big ask. I said I don't usually eat pork anyway. Then the cleaner said that the jinn had said it was not true. Last month, I brought home a packet of roast pork. After she said that, it clicked in my head that I had indeed brought back a large packet of char siu. She couldn't have known that. Even I have forgotten about it. That's when I took her words more seriously. Anyway, I did as she and the jinn asked, and since then, I had no more random electronic outages. Wow.
Coincidence?
I like that. He only believed. So they had a long conversation with the jinn, but he only believed when the jinn guessed about the char siu. He's like, wow. I mean, okay. Number one, it's a great story to start with because it's all about jinn, and jinn is Eugene's favorite, right? So
Long time never hear Jin already, huh?
yeah, true. You know, and I mean it's a great, but I mean, okay. First of all, for all of you out there who might be wondering, right, and those of you who know more about jinn can clue us in, right? But jinn are respectful of Islam, right, and many are said to be quite devout, right? So rather than being a spirit that wants to get rid of these type of holy things, it wants the holy things because it kept out the other assorted spirits, right? So that I think is quite nice. You know,
Yeah.
The jinn wanted protection from spirits as well. It's kind of cool. And I really like the fact that the cleaner did something out of compassion. You know, right? Because I guess for her the jinn was no big deal lah, right? Didn't bother her, not her house anyway, right? You know, but yeah, I think it's a good turn that she did. You know, so you never know, right? Be nice to people because they might have the third eye and can save you. You know, but what did you think? What do you think of this jinn? Come, Eugene, tell us.
I find that Jin has a bad reputation, and oftentimes they get blamed for bad things that happen. Now, if you speak to Muslims, they will tell you that genes are very much like humans. They were created by God, and they have their own world to live in. There's good genes, bad genes, neutral genes, just like humans. You have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Except that genes, of course, they were made from smokeless fire. They have powers. They have special abilities. And they, by right, are not supposed to interfere with us. Neither are we supposed to interfere with them. But, of course, you've heard enough confession stories to know that that line is oftentimes crossed. And, you know, when we talk about genes, not many people know that there's actually one very famous story that we all grew up listening to, even singing along. And it's the most famous jinn, and it's the Aladdin's genie. Genie of the lamp.
Paris just mentioned, why never ask for 3 wishes?
You don't want lah, don't want.
Cannot lah. You bring char siu home one time, that's it. No more wishes for
Yeah.
you. If you hadn't brought home char siu, maybe.
Yeah, and if you have attended walk with Hantu Changi, you have heard that some of the stories talk about how people would go to certain places that is known to have jinns. So it kind of tells me that jinns do reside in amongst us. So in this case, the jinn was in the house, or perhaps the jinn was on the land that Horizon Hill was built upon. I don't think it was a jinn that was invited to the house and stayed there. I think it was more of a penunggu, the area leader.
But why would it then pick only one house to consider its own? It wasn't sort of looking after the whole row of houses.
We don't know. He could be looking after the whole row. Just that this one house sort of changed the interior and brought in certain things that the jinn did not approve of. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking this jinn so all powerful, thousands of years old, stuck in one unit. A bit sad, right? I'm thinking it's more of an owner of the land itself.
I want to know whether it's the one at the top of the hill, or maybe there's some sort of jin feng shui that made that house was particularly nice, or maybe because the family was the most devout,
perhaps,
and so it was drawn to that family. And maybe that's why it was then so upset that it's rented out to this extremely undevout person who happily brings home char siu.
Yeah, makan babi, they still deny, say never bring home.
That actually would make good sense, right? I mean, I imagine the jinn being a much more enlightened species because they are more powerful, they're much more knowledgeable than us. So I don't think they deserve the bad reputation that they've been given. I think that if we understand them as how the way we always want to view alien species that are more advanced than us, right? Yeah, to me that's what the jinn are. They are the aliens that are already here. Oh, sekali they're grey also.
Hey, you never know. They're blue.
So yeah. I mean, but okay, if you could choose between being haunted by a ghost and haunted by a jinn, which one you want?
I think ghost lah. Ghost easier to deal with. Jinn is a bit tougher to, they're a bit more powerful, a bit wiser.
Cannot negotiate.
Yeah. And Ghost Warrior is asking, Eugene, are you saying that jinns equals genie? Yes.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the GENIE, right? The westernized spelling of it, right, is really jinn, the jinn that we know, right, and made popular. And I mean the idea of jinn granting wishes and all that, I think is common enough. It's common enough, right? And I think the jinn have been turned into a fairy tale figure by Western culture. But in Asia here, we've always known that they were much more diverse than that, right? And there are naughty jinn. There are naughty jinn as well, And also there are many types of jinn as well, right?
Hendrix Jinn, Bombay Sapphire Jinn, Beef Eater Jinn. Are we talking about the same Jinn?
That one British. Beef Eater is British. No, I like the fact that it wants a weekly smoke offering. It's sort of like I don't know whether it's because of that they too are smoke or they are smokeless fire. So they're smokeless fire, so they need smoke. No, I'm not getting the paralogic here. I want to know why they want smoke, because the offering of smoke is something very Asian, very Chinese. Actually, it's very Chinese, right? It's where the burning of joss and all these things come up, and why we burn joss paper. So I'm wondering what is the jinn version of that? How are they enjoying the smoke?
Actually, not true. It's a misconception that only Chinese burn. So. Malays, they have this particular saddlewood. Also, they call it oud, O-U-D. It's a special kind of incense that you burn, and I believe this scent is what Prophet Muhammad used as well. So if you go to some Muslim's house, you will smell it. Except they don't burn it in a joss stick style. That's a very Chinese thing. But they also have it in joss stick style. Sometimes they put it, they put it in a cone or something, but they will burn it. The Hindus also got their fire offerings, they're burned. In fact, after the whole Catholic thing, the Mother Mary story came out, what I learned from people who talk to me and says that, Catholic also, they will burn the frankincense. So the burning and the smoke thing is across a few religion, a few practices, not just the Chinese.
I absolutely agree, and this is the start of a MSA thesis here, right? But I do agree. There are multiple sort of instances of burning of offering of incense, right? But what I want to know is the incense? Oh no, something's happening! Wow,
Walao, what's
it's
this?
gonna be Eugene's birthday on Monday, everybody. Happy birthday to Eugene. Happy birthday to you.
Hold on, guys. Hold on for the show for a bit.
Where? Oh, there's the cake.
Okay, make wish, is it?
Yes.
Got smoke or not? Got smoke or not for the gin?
Smokeless fire, bro.
Smokeless fire.
Thank you, guys.
Yay!
That's Alsatian, Elwin, JK, Desmond. Who
1st of
else?
April birthday
Sneaky,
boy.
sneaky, yeah. Wow.
Let's see them. Let's see them. Where are they? Where are they?
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Pop into frame. Wow. Wait. Wow. Hello. Hey. Wow. I see a lot of people. Wait.
What was I saying? I lost my
I
train
didn't
of
count how
thought.
many people, but is Alsatian there? Is Desmond there?
Yep. They are here. They're here.
Yeah.
Alvin Sensei is here as well.
Yeah. So we've been scheming this all bloody night. Okay.
You know about it?
Yeah.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. The original plan was for me to somehow disappear and appear there, but
Wow.
I'm not a jinn, so I couldn't do that. I have to ask the Bedok version of John. Happy birthday, Eugene.
Thank you. Not yet. My birthday, a few days more.
Monday.
That's right. 1st April itself.
1st April, that means actually it's a lie. It's
Yeah,
never been your birthday.
it's
It's always been April Fool's.
It's a joke.
All right, everyone is saying happy birthday here.
Hey, thank you, everybody.
Ghost Warrior is saying, my birthday is tomorrow. Can you grant me happy birthday?
Happy birthday, Ghost Warrior. I share my cake with you. Spiritually, I share.
Yeah,
Mark Shipo says, so hard to hint to Jonathan to check his phone.
I missed so many messages because I was trying to distract you.
Your plan worked. I was very distracted.
That was the point of the whole argument about Jin. Because only Jin will keep you, Jin, absolutely captivated. Okay. All right, man. That was nice. Nice moment.
Okay, wait. Back to show mode. Okay. Where were we?
Any other thoughts? About this? What do you think would have happened?
Hold on, let me thank Derek. Derek Lim dropped $28.98. Happy birthday in advance, Eugene. It's his first supers. Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek. Yay. Okay, so the question I wanted to ask is, what would have happened if he didn't get to talk to the jinn and sort of work things out, right? Would the Kemenyan have been enough, or would the jinn still be grumpy and still keep playing with his electric?
If we assume that the jinn is not an evil jinn and it doesn't have any evidence of it
He's
being,
just frustrated lah.
he's just trying to make contact with you, like turn off your TV, turn off your lights, like you moron,
But it must have gotten to some point, right? It must have escalated. Imagine if he stayed for like 2 years, two more years, 3 more years, and enough light switching on and off, and he still ignores everything.
Because he doesn't sound like a believer to me, or someone who is like foremost thought is the hantu. He goes like faulty electronic.
Even faced with the presence of the cleaner talking about the jinn, he still was skeptical.
Now I'm curious more of the cleaner's mindset, where she started cleaning from him, I guess from perhaps day one or first month at least.
Yeah.
The jinn was already there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So can you imagine she was talking to the jinn and she's like, "Ayah, bang, don't put me in a difficult position lah. I don't want to tell my boss lah. You go tell him yourself lah, Then probably the one time he came back early, then she said, now got chance.
I have this cute image of the cleaner trying to go around mopping the floor, and then the jinn is like, tell him leh. Help me tell him lah.
Jangan lah bang. Excuse me. Kaki move a bit.
So cute. I do like the way that this sort of oblivious Chinese dude is just unable to sense this higher power. I think that's great. I think oblivion is powerful. you know, no matter how powerful the spirit is, if you are blur, yeah,
Cannot help.
cannot help. So it's a happy ending, right? The Jin got his ending, and now I love the fact that he can make the house vanish if thieves come.
Mm.
That's so cool. That's the ultimate security, man. Like suddenly, like, how come no unit 8, unit 10, then like, nothing in between, one empty lot.
But that's what people have said, right? Sometimes even the Malays, they put like curses on each other and then like they walk past, hey, how come the shop closed but the shop is there? So that's actually a very common, in fact, almost low level magic.
Yeah, like deception magic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's bunyan magic. It's bunyan
Chinese got a
magic.
鬼遮眼, right? Sounds like
Yeah,
Jin
exactly.
遮眼, or Jin
Maybe
tutup
that's the-
mata.
That's the first thing they learn, lah. The first day of class. Thank you from you, Serene Tan.
Thank you.
Happy birthday wishes. Thank you very much, Serene.
So celebrating with you guys today. That's my social life every Friday, guys. Right here with you all. People say got no life. I say no, man. Check it out. I got 262 friends with me right now. Every Friday.
Yay.
Sometimes I hit 300, sometimes I hit 400.
Wow, well done. Wow, okay. Very good.
Okay. Any other further things we want to talk about this?
I'm looking at the comments to see. Someone was asking questions about Jin, but that's gonna make. I think that's the whole episode. We should do a whole episode about
On Jin.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we can do a deep dive because someone was asking for the lowdown on what Jin are and what they do and all that. And it will be exciting, but I think it would throw us off topic today.
Okay.
So one whole episode about Jin coming up soon.
Which day, which Friday should we have for that to dedicate to Jin? Any particular event that would?
Is there a Jin day?
Monday lah. Monday is Jin's day. Okay, never mind. We are fine, but we definitely.
Yeah.
If I forget, John, please remind me to.
We will remind you. But that means now we are officially calling out for Jin stories. If anyone out there has confessions about Jin, please dig them up, share them with Eugene, so that we can collect them and do a really nice, powerful episode. That'll be fun.
Sure. John, okay, I'm supposed to read the next confession, but I got to ask you, could you do the honors, please? Because I want to crack open this bottle and say hi to them outside proper and then come back in again.
Fine. Okay. Hold on. Let me open this. Okay. All right.
So today, John read all three, okay?
Voila, Sabo.
Thank you, Paris. Happy 18th birthday. Oh.
Because no one can afford to donate his real age.
Okay. All right, ready, John?
This is okay. Got it.
This one is my favorite. I like this story. This next confession is the jealous ghost. Took place at Dakota Crescent at Old Airport Road in Singapore. John, take it away. Hey, Salah, wait, pause.
Try that again.
Wrong screen. Okay, now take it away.
Hi, Eugene and John. I saw that you have an upcoming theme on rooms for rent, and I wanted to share a memory. I rented a room with my then boyfriend at Dakota Crescent about 10 years ago, before the estate was closed down. It was a gorgeous rustic estate, and despite my place being haunted, I missed that place very much. I stayed there for about 2 years. My boyfriend was a club DJ, and he was usually not at home at night. I'm a freelance designer, so I was home most of the time, and I don't sleep early. My landlady didn't live there, so even though I had rented just one room, I pretty much had the whole place to myself. I felt very early on that there was a spirit in the house with us. I don't have the third eye, but I would consider myself quite sensitive. At first, it was just fleeting shadows in the corner of my eyes, the odd tap on my shoulder, or the feeling that someone had touched my hair. And then it escalated to violent sleep paralysis. I know what your other hosts would say. Oh, it's just exhaustion. But exhaustion doesn't leave behind bruises and scratch marks. I started noticing a pattern over time. Whenever my boyfriend and I had one of our arguments, the spirit would be very loving. No sleep paralysis on those nights, just the feeling that someone is gently brushing my hair. But when my boyfriend and I were intimate, the spirit would start getting aggressive the next few days. I told my girlfriends about this, and one night when they came over to hang out, one of them suggested we play the spirit of the pen to make contact. The spirit of the pen is like a Ouija board. We write alphabets on a piece of paper with an area for yes and no and home. Two or more people can hold the pen and call upon the spirit to give us a message. We called out, Spirit of this house, if you are here, please join us in this seance session. Tell us who you are and what you want. Not surprisingly, it didn't take long for the spirit to make contact and start to move the pen almost immediately. Who are you? We asked. The spirit went to the letter B and stayed there. What do you want? It went to S and then A and stayed there. My name is Sandy, so we assumed that that's what the spirit was trying to spell. So we asked it, Do you mean Sandy? And the pen went to yes. Then we started asking each other other silly questions, and my girlfriends were having a ball of the time. Convent girls, I tell you, we just never grow out of it. Eventually, we sent the spirit back home. Thankfully, the pen went to home, and then we burnt the piece of paper. This got me really curious. So, the subsequent time that I saw my landlord to make payment for rent, I asked if she knew anyone who had stayed in the house before with a name that starts with the letter B. She looked at me strangely and said that she only knew one other B, and that's her son, Ben. I asked what had happened to him, but as I asked that, I could feel a cold sensation near the left side of my body, and I suspected the worst. At first, my landlady was reluctant to say, and she just went with, He's no longer around. Then I asked her outright, He died here, didn't he? She was stunned. I hugged her, and we kept silent. The sleep paralysis and phantom touches carried on until we moved out. By the end of that year, our new HDB flat was fully built, and we were going to move to our new place and confirm our marriage. Around that time, my boyfriend had also left his club gig and was pursuing a sales job that gave him more money and a better lifestyle. When he was at home, the spirit would not make its presence felt. So the last few months, the encounters dwindled to about once a week whenever my boyfriend was out late. Before we left the Dakota Crescent home, I wrote a thank you letter to Ben and I wished him well. I infused the letter with loving intent and I burnt it. Each time I go to Old Airport Road Market to eat, I still think of Ben. I never told my husband all this, but if he hears this confession, then he might know lah. But thankfully, he doesn't listen to your podcast.
Walao, Sandy.
Oh dear, but never mind. It will be it will be archived forever. So one day he'll find out.
Got a ghost boyfriend in the home.
Wow. There's no indication of how old he was. Did she share that with you? How old was Ben when he passed away?
No, no mention.
Because yeah, because it changes the profile of it. If he was in his teens or early 20s, you might imagine that's romantic. If he was a small child, it's a little bit creepier. If he
No,
was
I think the way the spirit behave,
Hmm.
I mean, like we have heard of stories about how small child would be playful, play with the switch, the lights, or like one of those what do you call it, the kuih kia, right? You
Yeah.
give it Yakob or bandung. There's always a certain childlike experience to those kind of spirits. They will drop the marble, right? They play the ball. This one is like touching the hair, caressing. So it doesn't sound like a child spirit. It sounds more like a young man who had died before his time.
But that's kind of why I would think it's creepy, because if you remember the movie The Boy, remember the movie The Boy, which is about that lifelike doll. So this girl is hired to look after a She's hired as a nanny to look after a child, but when she turns up, it's a doll, right? But she's
Oh,
supposed to treat the doll as a child, a living child, right? And then
creepy
the story goes
show.
that- correct. But that child did not treat her like a big sister. Okay, that child had intentions, right? So I'm just saying that the same kind of touches coming from a younger ghost would be extremely creepy, whereas coming from a her age ghost would be well, I won't say affectionate lah, but trying to reach out, right? Still kind of invasive. So I guess the confessor, was she traumatized? I mean, when you interviewed her, was she ever traumatized by this?
No,
Okay,
no,
so
not at
that's kind of
all. But I did ask. I said, you said it was a violent. Okay,
sleep
she didn't
paralysis.
use the word violent. She said it was. There were bruises and scratches, and she had
Yeah.
to struggle. So I used the term violent in the writing of this narrative, because that's what I felt it was. I said, "Aren't you afraid?" I mean, it's one thing for sleep paralysis that seems to be so common, and in fact,
Yeah.
science have tried to create a reason around it. So I get that, like, if you have sleep paralysis and you ignore it, sure. But bruises and scratches, how
That's
do you
more.
start to ignore? That
Correct.
seems like what you said. The word is invasive.
It is. Yeah.
She says, yeah, just get used to it. And I don't want to make this assumption, but I kind of feel she likes the ghostly attention.
I mean, you can hear in the confession that she was quite open to this presence. She was very empathetic, sympathetic as well. So I mean, yeah, it could be that just being alone all the time, and her boyfriend kind of living opposite hours from her. So yeah, she doesn't mind having a friend around the house. And I guess it never escalated to a point that it crossed the line for her.
To me,
You
I,
know.
I asked Sandy one question, and after she
Mm.
answered that, I went, no wonder. And I
Okay.
understood straight away, and I didn't ask
Mm.
any further questions.
Which is.
I asked her, I said, Sandy, are you a fan of the Twilight series? And she goes like, yes, I love that book. I go like, okay. Say less. I got it.
Okay. So I'm getting a sense. I'm getting a sense of Sandy now. So the idea of a romantic spirit is very tempting. Okay. So next time you feel a touch on your hair and everyone, just sort of touch back gently and see where it goes. Okay? See where
Oh,
it goes.
my
Yeah, just starting.
love, my darling.
Take out your clay and your potter's wheel and just sit there and wait. Wait.
John, I kind of think, right? Like, if the next time the hantu comes, like in any situation, and they
Yeah.
try to scare you, instead of being scared, be loving.
Wow, that's it. That's the best way to exercise the spirit.
Instead of
Straight away
the
leave
spirit
your
want to be
house.
attached with you, you want to be attached to the spirit. Come back here, don't go away. Say you love me. Don't ghost me
Right.
now.
Actually, I could be okay. Along that line, right? I'm just imagining these convent girls playing Spirit of the Pen, okay, and probably asking rather invasive and dirty questions, and making the ghost blush. You cannot ask a boy these type of things. And the ghost is like, please send me away, please send me away.
It's like, go home, all right, just go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. Sometimes you can. Oh, what's that?
My phone.
Oh, okay. So interesting approach. Okay. If you ever want to try it, please let us know how it works. Okay.
Oh,
Actually, have
my
you ever
s-
done an episode
Wait, my
about?
screen is gone
Eh?
now.
Oh no! Did something touch your hair and then you responded?
Not sure.
Wait.
Let me see.
Wow.
Something's not right. Eh?
I
Here,
can see
okay.
you. Okay. Oh no! I cannot.
No one can see me on screen. So weird.
You share with me. Share screen first.
Should be able to see me lah.
I can see you. I can see you on the shared screen.
Okay, on YouTube.
YouTube is hanging.
Okay, Kennedy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay, back. Okay, where were we? Ben.
Everyone here is talking about Twilight. Yeah, Ben. I mean, okay, so she had loving intent towards him, right? So yes, you're right. I think profiling the confessor here is quite useful, right? Understanding that she's someone who is drawn towards the fiction, the idea of a romantic ghost. So why not?
Mm,
Why not?
mm,
Right? It wasn't too horrifying. It wasn't too invasive. It was just gentle. So it was easy to imagine that Ben had no sort of dangerous motives, right? Just
mm,
like the affection. He was jealous though, so I'm thinking there's a little bit of a red flag there,
mm.
right? Because he doesn't want to appear when the boyfriend's around, etc., etc. So, but then again, when the boyfriend started spending more time at home, he didn't get frustrated. He just sort of kept his distance.
Maybe he's
So
socked in a corner, like, you wouldn't know. I cannot see.
true, but at least he didn't start getting angry, lah.
Yeah.
Right? In a movie situation, that's when things go bad, right? So it was a jealous ghost that didn't act on his jealousy, and yeah, so maybe sulking. So
And so the other thing as well that was
mm,
quite pertinent for me, I wanted
mm.
to know if Ben had actually followed her to her new house,
Ooh,
right?
I think Ben is quite attached to the place,
No,
I
after she
guess.
left, there's nothing. Outside
Yeah.
the house, nothing. So Ben is
Mm.
really just anchored to the house itself.
I mean, I'm assuming that was his home, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was his home, right? Yeah. So
So my takeaway is that Ben could be the son
uh,
of that
uh,
landlady.
that's what she said. She did say that it was
Mm.
her son Ben.
Mm.
Yeah. So, and maybe that's why the landlady wanted to rent out the place now, so that she doesn't have to live in the place where her son died, right?
Mm.
And the memories and all that. So I'm wondering, of course, whether the flats were torn down right after, or was this
No, the
how long
flats
ago?
are still there. If
Okay,
you
but were they
drive by to
mm,
this what Crescent,
mm,
uh, the
were they but were they vacated
vacated, all
right
boarded
after?
up.
Mm.
It's waiting to be torn down and maybe condos
Okay.
being built. But right now, it's the building still
Mm,
stand. It's all boarded
mm.
up.
So the confessor was Ben's last friend.
Mm.
Oh dear, that's a bit sad. But but again, the bruises and the scratches are a bit disturbing.
Mm.
In a very nice romantic story, the bruises and scratches are a bit strange.
But
You know,
sometimes girls like it a bit rough.
where
The bruises and all that. It's like, my boyfriend did this.
I don't know, Sandy. Okay, but moving on.
Okay. We have time for today. We're good for time. We have
Mm,
one more confession. This is titled "The Three Things to Remember." But before that, I've been
mm,
forgetting this the last few weeks. So, ladies and
mm.
gentlemen, if you are interested to find out more about how you could get involved in Supernatural Confessions, get a monthly newsletter, have some voting powers deciding what we do, there's an upcoming event as well this October. This is where you get to make decisions on how to steer Supernatural Confessions forward, get 10% discount on merchandise, walks, and all tours, VIP invite as well. And of course, receive the behind the scenes or B grade, not B grade, sorry, B side, B B side
BTS,
confession.
BTS.
Yes,
Okay.
you can join us as Patreon. Thank you for listening to the Supernatural Confessions podcast. If you are enjoying the show and would like to support our efforts, you can help by giving us a 5-star review or by becoming a patron by signing up for a monthly membership fee that starts from as low as $5. Check out the perks at patreon.com/supernaturalconfessions. That's patreon.com/supernaturalconfessions. Or if you feel like showing a simple gesture of appreciation, you can buy us a cup of coffee or two at buymeacoffee.com/superconfess. And now, let's get back to the show. And also, we have John and we are back with Walk with Hantu Changi now that he's, not so busy with Battlebox.
Battle box, yeah.
So do join us. Walk with Hantu Changi is back
Yeah.
join us before Changi goes for good. Okay?
What's our next tour is the 13th of April, if I'm not wrong, right?
You're right.
13th of April, Saturday. So if you guys can make it and you haven't come on the tour yet, please join us.
I know you have some sign-ups on your site already. That's what, 5?
I think so, yeah.
There's
There's still space. There's still
3
space.
on mine, so total we have 8. Maximum is 15. 7 more slots for the 13th of
Yay.
April.
How the cake nice or not? I hear you munching. I got no cake. Is it lychee cake?
Lychee martini.
Wow. I feel jealous. Okay, I'm a jealous ghost now. Okay.
ASMR.
Wow. Okay. If you're a Patreon, you get a full hour of Eugene just eating cake. Okay. That's B grade. That's as B grade as you can say.
I always say this Patreon Supernatural Confessions Patreon is like OnlyFans for
Yeah,
for
lah.
us.
Whatever it takes, man.
Okay, confession, huh? Shall we?
Me, you.
Mila, you.
Okay, you finish chewing your cake. Okay. You lah.
Okay, I'll take this one. This title, The 3 Things to Remember, and it's okay, I don't know who's by, but it's at Boon Lay area. The confession, the house is at the Boon Lay area. Around 2008, during the financial crisis time, I lost my job and fell on hard times. My marriage was rocky as well. And long story short, I needed a place to stay for the interim. I couldn't afford to get a long-term rental as well, but thankfully a friend was able to put me up at her unused HDB unit at a very low to almost zero cost. The unit belonged to a family, but due to internal family feud, they couldn't agree on what to do with the unit, so it was left unused. I was a stowaway, basically. Before she passed me the keys, she gave me some specific instructions to follow. The instructions were: 1. Not to turn off the Om Mani Padme Hum recording. Let it play for 24 hours. 2. Don't leave uneaten food on the table overnight. 3. Use the master bedroom toilet. Avoid the kitchen toilet if possible. I didn't think much about it. I had my own problems to deal with and was just happy to have a home. The house had been vacant for some time. You can tell by the musky smell from the old furniture. As the unit was along the corridor, I kept the windows closed for privacy. I'm a stowaway, remember? Although my friend hadn't mentioned anything about her neighbours, I decided to keep a low profile to avoid sparking her family drama, whatever it may be. Not meaning to be offensive here, but the Om Mani Padme Om chanting on repeat can get quite irritating when it's turned on the entire day. And even though it wasn't turned on very loudly, in the dead quiet of the night especially, it can get pretty loud. It's one of those small recorder devices where the volume button was also the power and off button. You scroll it until you feel and hear a click, and that's how you turn it off. I didn't turn it off per se, but I turned it down so low that I couldn't hear it. Shortly after, I went to bed, but woke up with a start in the middle of the night. There was a shadow figure standing at my bedroom door. It just stood there. I got the sense that it was just staring at me. I turned to reach for my phone, and that was when I woke up for real. I held the phone in my hand. The room was dark. The door was closed. The aircon was on. What I had seen moments ago was just a dream, but a very realistic one that literally got me out of bed for my phone. I contemplated opening the door to check outside, but if I'm being honest, I was actually feeling unnaturally spooked. I'm not the kind of person to be fearful of anything, let alone a simple nightmare. At that point, I also hadn't met any ghost in real life, so there was no seated fear that would justify why I felt what I did. I checked my phone mindlessly for a bit, and then once the fear dissipated, I went back to sleep. Again, the same nightmare came back, but this time I couldn't wake up. I knew I was dreaming, but it was like I was stuck in a sleep paralysis loop between consciousness and sleep. This scene went on for some time. It was just scratchy, unintelligible noises and that shadow figure, over and over and over again. The next thing I knew, it was morning. The transition was immediate. I checked the time, It was 8:30 a.m. Sunday. I met my friend at church and she asked how my stay was. I told her that it was all okay, but I think she can tell from my slight hesitation that I was lying. Then she said, "Don't worry lah, she's harmless one. Just do as I instructed you and she'll leave you alone."
I love that she was sharing the advice at church. Like, I'm gonna go to church and ask you about the ghost in your house. That's what it means to live in Singapore, lah. You got to juggle these beliefs.
No, that's true.
I'm going to church to find out about this pagan spirit. Wow. Okay, my question is, it was she, right? The spirit was a she, right?
Yeah.
Was offended because she turned down the sound. She didn't turn it off, right? She turned it down. So it's just a volume thing, right? You know. So imagine what would have happened if she had turned it off completely.
No lah, but also
Would she have been?
this person also was quite being a smart aleck lah. He didn't turn off, right? He kept his word. He didn't turn off. He just put it so low that he couldn't hear it. he tried to
So you
crack the
might-
system.
Then the spirit cannot hear also.
I don't know. So what? Okay, so then the question that we have to ask, right, is what is this spirit first?
I mean, her friend obviously knew who she was, right? Or at least knew more, right? And yeah, actually no. So I want to know what's the next question that she asked while they were standing at church. Did she ask, "Excuse me, who is this lady?" You know, and what happened to her, and will she do anything more to me?
So
You know?
I asked him that as well because I want to know, right? This is one of the confessions that has no ending. You didn't ask, you're not curious. I want to know, can you go back and call and ask your friend?
It was time to go in front for communion.
Yeah.
They were doing this while they were in the aisle to take communion. Hey, there's a ghost in your house. Okay. And also, because of the 3 things that she was not supposed to do, she only broke one of them. Right? So she didn't happily use the kitchen toilet, and she didn't leave uneaten food on the table. So
No chance for that yet.
I'm just wondering also whether those 3 instructions might give us a clue to the spirit.
Okay.
Right? So one is the recording, okay, which is a bit general, right? The recording, I don't know, keeps her at bay or something. Maybe yes, actually that's true. It keeps her at bay. So when you turn it down, she can sort of appear in your bedroom door. Then if you turn it off completely, she can jump on top of you. I don't know, right? But the food on the table is interesting. Don't leave uneaten food on the table overnight.
Okay, I'm looking at the comment section now that has things that people are talking about. Also, just want to say thank you to Jason Lim. Jason Lim says, "How do you know it's Eugene Tay's birthday?" When the ghost says to the birthday boy, "I hope your birthday's a real scream. Happy early birthday."
Birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
And
Okay, what are people saying? Come.
they're saying that the verse, Om Mani Padme Hum, is a powerful mantra to chase spirits away. Keep that at bay.
Yeah. So, in other words, that was protection, right? So the first thing was about not turning off your protection, right? Which then seems to suggest that it is capable of more than that. Right? It's quite powerful, you know. For a spirit to require a 24-hour non-stop chanting to keep her at bay, she must be quite potent, right? But the other 2 might give a clue to its identity or its origin, right? You know, so not leaving food on the table overnight and avoiding the kitchen toilet.
Okay, so this is hypothesis already, yeah?
Come, we are in that section
MSA
Yes.
category now, the territory now. Leaving food behind might be seen as offering. Okay, so my assumption is that the entity is a resident entity in the house. Who it is, that one we can assume to the cow come home, we will not know because there was family feud, the house was affected. Could the spirit be a family member, a grandmother? Spirit that took refuge there because it's empty. So many different ways to look at that, but no evidence from the story alone. But clearly, the previous homeowner must have known about the haunting already, and that's why she knows the 3 instructions.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Could it be that's the spirit of the grandmother who was stuck there, and then they decide, one side of the family says don't sell. That's grandma's place. The other side says sell. We don't want the property. And that's where the feud is, maybe, right? And if that's the grandmother, then the Omni Padme home might, give her peace, if not deter other spirits from coming into an empty unit. Or the food on the table could be seen as offerings. And we have seen how, we put food outside, spirits tend to come and eat. There have been some other warnings from the old, Malay kampong people who says don't leave food at night overnight because it attracts spirit. So maybe. So now you have the Buddhist chant. You have the Malay belief of not putting food on the table. And then what about the kitchen toilet? Could it be that the old lady died there because she fell in a toilet? And that's where she haunts. So you have a Christian family using Buddhist chant following Malay superstitions. This is Singapore for you guys.
I'm at first listen, I can sort of buy that. Right? I do believe that there's a high likelihood that the kitchen toilet might be involved in the death. Right? Quite possible, right? And I think that it's quite believable if it's, let's say, during her lifetime, she was, this grandmother was the one that nagged everybody about not leaving food left over. Right. So it was her pet peeve, for example, right? So, if you do that, she will come out of the toilet and she will, do whatever, right? Push the food off the table, or, Yeah, I think that, because here we're looking at a very personal kind of haunting, right? It's not a kind of stray spirit kind of thing, but, a person who had habits and who had, favorite things and things that she didn't like, and sort of that carry over, right? So it is grandma's quirks kind of thing, right? And I do buy that the was calming for her. I'm just thinking, if I was the landlady and I was gonna give these 3 very weird instructions to someone, wouldn't I just say, my grandma spirit is still here, so just be respectful, do these things. It doesn't make it, in fact, it makes it way less scarier, right?
You would assume that most people are like us.
No. To any normal person, giving those 3 instructions are major red flags. Major red flags, right? Just the first instruction, really, like, please do not turn off this mantra. It's like, yeah, there's no other reason except this place is haunted, right? So wouldn't you want the person to feel reassured by saying, it's my grandma, it's fine, this was her house, just do these things for her, okay, thanks. Because literally the next time you meet her in church, that's what she told you.
Hold on, I'm gonna poll the audience, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you that I think. Okay, sorry. Let me. I cannot multitask. Would you rather know that the house you are renting is haunted?
No. Okay, that's not the question. That's not the
What's the question?
Because based on those 3 warnings,
Okay.
everyone will deduce the house is haunted.
Okay.
You just don't know who.
Okay, give me a question to type it out. Like, how should I type out?
Would you
the
rather know
Would you
that
rather know?
it's her grandma haunting the house, or not know who is haunting the house? Right? Because the fact that the house is haunted.
No, but she never said the house is haunted. What?
You put those 3 clues together. What else can it be? What else can it be? She gave no other excuses. She doesn't say, like, don't use the toilet because it's leaking. She did not put in any effort to make the excuses normal.
Okay.
Right? And it's only because of the confessor's state of desperation that she would. Otherwise, everyone would run away from these 3 warnings.
Okay, so I asked her, would you rather know that it's grandma haunting the house or not know anything about the haunting? Okay?
Okay.
So, no, it's grandma. Don't know, better.
See, Isabel Rosta is saying, I'd rather stay at roadside. Okay. Because, let's... side question, right? Is there any other conclusion you can draw from those 3 warnings?
Someone said grandma is peranakan. I can imagine.
I mean, I can believe if you say, "Oh, there are a lot of cockroaches here. Don't leave food on the table overnight." Or Eugene spirit haunts this place. He's scared of cockroaches. Or like, yeah, and I can understand if you say the toilet is leaking or the toilet is blah blah blah. But with no other reasons, and that particular combo plus the recording, it's screaming haunted. And I would totally rather know that it's a harmless
No,
thing like your
okay.
grandma.
I'm going to put on my skeptic's hat. Okay.
Okay.
I come in. You say you want to play mantra. Sure, you are just a religious person.
But you know what? But you're not there. You're playing it to an empty house.
Yeah, but some security guard, some places, some army camp also they play the.
Because they think it's haunted.
But this is Singapore lah. It may be haunted, it may not be. But I'll not jump to a conclusion that I would, but I think
You would. And you're going to live there now.
no, don't leave food on table. I can imagine cockroach.
Why?
Cockroach.
But why no reason given?
Yeah lah. Then the toilet is maybe because the toilet choke.
But again, not given, right? So the phrasing of these of these warnings are very cryptic. That's why, so for me, they add up to something highly mysterious because each of these are mysterious, right? And the only kind of solution to that mystery is some kind of haunting or some kind of, something spiritual that you're trying to keep away, right? Or to keep at bay. So wouldn't it be just a lot easier to just say, it's harmless, it's my grandma?
So the observer is saying that sometimes if you know it's a grandma, you have to acknowledge and activate. But if you don't know, you still can pretend. You can do the ignorance is bliss thing.
You meaning as in the stranger, the confessor?
Yeah, the confessor, like not knowing anything that's haunted or not, can still pretend it's a dream. I'm tired,
No,
not strong enough.
I'm torn because you've already freaked me out. Okay, as a skeptic, right? I would not be able to put any reasonable sort of conclusion to these three strange warnings.
Paris asked a very good question. He says, "Why never help grandma to go to the light?"
I mean, okay, very valid question. Obviously, there's a bit of family infighting here, right? But also, okay. So we're all saying grandma because that's Eugene's theory, lah.
My theory,
we do not know. Okay, we do not know, right? But it's quite likely that it's someone who lived there, lah, right? But then again, okay, I'm wondering whether this is a family who is well off enough to have a spare HDB flat while they argue about who's going to get rid of it. So I don't think grandma was the one living here.
Okay.
It might be that it's just a spare thing that they bought for rental purposes, and then it wasn't very clean. So it could be an absolute stranger spirit, right? It just came with the HDB, right? And so there's absolutely no reason to suppose that it was grandma or a family member, because I'm convinced that if it was grandma, just say so lah. But the idea of it being a sort of like strangers. Okay, what do you think the conflict was? And did she give? Did the confessor give any clue?
No, they didn't ask. Yeah.
So
I also would not ask lah. It's like my friend got family feud. I go, hey, Steve, can you tell me what happened to your family? I'm not going to also, right? Like, thanks for the house. Let me stay there. I'm not going to question.
Some more stowaway.
I know, because he said got no place to go. Then the friend's like, oh yeah, like the friend did not like, hey, readily offer, you want my house? And it's like, after really like no choice already, bo pian already. It's like, okay lah, you really want to stay a few nights, or you need just a short stay, just take my house lah. It's one of those, damn if you do, damn if you don't. You'd rather let a friend stay, albeit in a haunted house, than to see your friend suffer out there on a park bench, right?
One clue that's in the story is that the house had been vacant for some time, right? The confession says you can tell by the musky smell from the old furniture, right? So even when, I don't know how long the family feud had been going on now, but it had been empty a while. So I'm wondering whether it was something that they couldn't get rid of or couldn't rent out because it was haunted, right? And whether the family feud was exactly about that. Got ghosts or no ghosts.
Yeah.
And what should we do with it? You know, and what would you do with the haunted house? You know, and nobody could be confident enough to like just hire a tanki and cleanse the thing because the rest of the family disapprove.
I'm thinking
No?
now, reading the comment section as people are talking about it, why never call the priest and
Yeah.
never, never go to the light. I'm guessing
Mm.
it could be a religious differences. Like, how would we
Yeah.
want to send grandma off? We are Catholic or Christian family. We should have a Christian wedding. But grandma is not Christian. She's Buddhist. We should have a Buddhist funeral.
Funeral.
So I think there's a lot of that sort of. Did I say wedding? Oh, sorry, not grandma's
Yes,
wedding.
yes, yes.
Grandma's funeral. Okay, like funeral and wedding, same.
But I think, but again, this would also apply if it wasn't grandma, right? If they bought a flat to rent out and then found out that it's haunted, you know, and then half the family is like, okay, let's just hire a tanki, and the rest were like, no, there's no such thing, you know, and because of that same argument, they still can't get rid of it,
Maybe.
right? Maybe, right? You know, or half the family is thinking, just keep quiet and rent it out. And the other family is like, no, you cannot do that. MSA will
Irresponsible.
scold us. Yes, exactly. We must have civic responsibility. You know, it could be because they've clearly, I won't say they've lived there, but they've had time to figure out what the three rules are. Right? It's like gremlins, right? You know, so you know what the rules are. So there must have been some sort of tradition to this haunting, right? Yeah. So hard to say, hard to say. I really want to find out more. I'm so curious.
Trust you, me. There's so many times I listen to confessions. I'm dying to find out more. I was like, stop! don't just leave me hanging like that, guys. Tell me something to scratch that itch. I want to know.
Why don't we rent it and put the museum there, lah?
Boon Lay lah, you go yourself lah. I don't go.
Wow, you want your museum to be central, lah?
Yeah. Okay, so the poll results have came
Yes.
back. I've not ended the poll yet, but as of now, 55% say they don't want to know it's grandma. 55% says don't know better. So we are almost down the line, John.
How do you get 55 plus 55%? That's 110.
No lah, 45 plus 5, 5%
45.
difference.
Okay, 45.
Right? So
Okay.
I
Close
mean,
enough.
it's not like a landslide victory. It's almost there, 50-50, almost.
Okay lah. I mean, okay, I hope it's not grandma. I hope it's not grandma because it's sad to think that she's stuck there for some reason, right? And you know, and if it's because the family can't make up their minds, then that's really annoying.
We only say grandma because I say grandma. Now it's grandma sticks.
Okay, but
Power
if it
suggestion.
isn't, if it isn't grandma, I mean, it could be a jinn. For all you know, right? It could be a jinn, but I mean, it is about possession, right? It's about I don't mean possession as in possessing the bodies, but possessing the house, right? You know, and if this spirit feels that it owns this place, if it belongs in this place, then that's where the conflict comes up, lah. You know, that's why we always talk about haunted houses, right? And even haunted rentals, because you are renting a place that already belongs to someone else, right? Belongs to Ben or belongs to the jinn, right? You know, it's all about ownership, right? And the happy ending is always sort of coming to some sort of arrangement, right? Like with the jinn, you came to an arrangement. You know, we'll let you vape once a week, that kind of thing, right? And with Ben, it was about acceptance, right? If you can make peace with that thing, with the things that are going on, then jolly good, right? You get your kicks, In this case, I guess, frustratingly, no sort of happy ending, right? How long ago was this confession given? Is this person still living there? No lah.
No lah, left already.
A long time ago. Yeah. So, okay. I really want to know.
Okay, I got some interesting comments to read. I love it today. I got time to read comments today. And no, because when I look at the comments, they were in relation to what we are talking about, so it's quite related, right? Okay. Daily Spirit says, MSA hotline, call if there's unethical renting out of haunted place. I like that line. Bring Me the Lion, that's a new name, so probably listening to us quietly and only decided to comment today because something struck a chord with him or her. She said, my ama and akong passed away recently. Dilemma comes when my mom, eldest daughter, is Buddhist. My auntie, second daughter, is Christian. Then my uncle youngest son is Taoist.
Oh no.
End up, we did a Taoist funeral to follow my uncle's religion.
Okay, interesting.
Religion is quite tricky when it comes to funeral. And Hensley Tama, thank you for your blessing. Says, I have once rented a haunted house, but never kena kacau. But when I go travelling, my housemate guarantee kena kacau quite bad. Scary apparition, etc. Hansel Tama, please call the MSA hotline at +65 9459 4931.
I think the hantu scared of you lah, Hensley. Don't dare to come up.
Speaking of confession, let us take a few seconds break to give you this. If you have a hantu story to share with us, this is how you can get in touch with me. Supernatural Confessions was created as a safe space for people to share their paranormal encounters. If you or someone you know has a strange encounter to share, we want to hear about it. You can type it to us, send us a voice memo, or even meet me for a face-to-face interview. Visit supernaturalconfessions.com for more info.
But every time I hear you laugh, I get into trouble.
Okay, we are back to the show.
Remember years ago, I not years ago lah, okay, seasons ago, I shared about the conversation I had with the a Buddhist priest after conducting a funeral in the void deck, and he was sharing exactly what Bring Me the Lion was talking about, that because I was asking him, whether modern funerals are very different from the old days lah, because he'd been doing for a long time, right? He said, yes, his biggest concern is that nowadays more and more families have different religions among the children, right? And he's very concerned when, because of those differences, they just don't want to conduct the funeral, or they just do the easy one, so they don't do the usual rituals, right? And his argument was basically, whatever the person was, right, that is the ritual you must do. As the children, it's not about you. It is about the person, the departed's religion, right? You don't believe, when it's your funeral, that's when it counts, right? But if grandma was Taoist, give her the Taoist funeral, because it's her spirit that's on the line here, And the way he phrased it was very interesting. He said, who knows how many spirits got lost or were left neglected because their children had suddenly become Christian. Right? Because just because you change religion does not mean all your ancestors follow you into that religion and convert also. Right? That ticket to heaven is for you only, yeah? So it is, I think, a matter of family and society as well, right? When you make these choices for yourself, I mean, yeah, you have absolutely the right to choose your own faith, but many of our religions have a lot of ties that bind, right? And how can you shift like that and just let go of everyone else, right? Family becomes tricky. So perhaps the answer for this funeral dilemma is just do whatever it is the person believed they want to be done with them, just bite the bullet and do lah.
It's not about you, it's about the deceased.
Correct.
Yes,
Otherwise, they will come back and then it will be about you.
Comment by the observer says, my friend rented a house. Wife went to visit. Since she's sensitive, she quickly saw a family of ghosts. It's confirmed by others, but the renter never did. We joke how the ghost might get tired of trying. Speaking of this, right, there are cases where people have actually rented out homes and the new tenant claim it's haunted, but the landlord never ever could see. And I'm going to give us some throwback stories. This one is by Jay. Jay was living in Jakarta for her internship, and she was living in a rented bungalow. Everyone who's living there, all the tenants, the students, claimed to have seen things. She would knock on the wall would have knockbacks, and it was just basically a very haunted location. She brought this story up to the landlord's like, no lah, can't be lah. Anyway, you're just going to pray what you want to pray lah. Totally deny everything. And today, because we're talking about haunted house as a theme, there have been a few stories and confessions that came by our way. I feel that on the theme of haunted rental place, you guys really got to go check it out. In fact, the number one, Singapore's number one most haunted rented house, according to Supernatural Confessions charts, is Spooner Road.
Spooner Road. Okay.
Second is Changi pre-war black and white houses. LEX, who lives there. I think she might have moved out around now already. But I did an interview there. I was there for a couple of days. Many hours I spent there. Even learning how to do mugs. I didn't do this. She did it. But mine turned out terrible. And it's haunted. It's all rented places. You can't buy those places by LTA, I think. Or SLA. SLA, yeah. So they have, with regards to stories about rental, I'm sure there are a lot. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to this and you know someone out there, or you yourself have a story to tell, get in touch with me, because I'm quite sure we're going to have a part 2 of haunted rental places this year.
I mean, there's a very simple reason, a paralogic, why rented places are more likely to be haunted. Simply because the emptiness in between rentals, right, is more welcoming to spirits, right? And every rental is short. So no one owns this place. No one puts a lot of love and passion and life into this place. No one raises a family here. This is, if you believe how the reason why, temporarily occupied places like hotels and camps and all that are haunted, then a rented house is just almost there, especially one where people take on short rentals, right? So places where families live for a year or two and then move on, the house resets. It resets again and again, right? So it's quite, and also because since no family is living there long enough, nobody sort of feels that, I've got to get this place cleansed for the sake of my family and the next 20, 30 years. No, like, I'm going to be here 6 months. Screw that. I'll just ignore the ghost. So it's just the higher incidence of continuing hauntings, because in a normal apartment or flat or whatever, someone would have taken the trouble to get rid of the ghost for the long term, right? So yes, please report haunted houses to MSA. Yes, Daily Spirit, that's the job. I think we should start a new 1-800 hotline. Yes. Your phone is going to get crowded, I tell you.
So next week we have this topic called Before Their Time, about people who died before their time, perhaps like Ben, and then they return.
Nice.
And I would like to call out to you guys listening in, if you have a haunted office story to share, please do so, because Labor Day in May, I would love to have a theme called Haunted Office. Okay, so reach out to me. No 1-800, just 9459-4931. Okay.
Quite shocked.
So, ending the poll now, we have 55%. Let's see what's the numbers like.
Wow.
119 votes, almost half.
Shifted by 1%. Okay. Oh, Hungry Me is sharing something interesting. The government is opening up Tanglin Halt for families to rent while waiting for BTO to be built. I wonder if they will feel or see anything there.
I was at Tanglin Halt. I did my investigation there. Now, there was even a confessor who talked about Tanglin Halt story, who has lived there 20 years. There was a ghost child in the house. There have been different home temples there. So Tanglin Halt, old estate, lots of stories. I'm not saying it's not haunted. I'm just saying that when I was there, in the room, isolation, didn't feel anything at all. So
did you do like every flat?
No, whatever.
You Sui landed up in the one which was vacated by the spirits as well.
When I went there were not many units that were open, and I didn't want to kick down any doors and all that. But right now, I think I've heard, like, in recent months, people were kicking down doors and going in, and it's so crowded. So I don't know. It just sounds like it's overpopulated. And if I'm a ghost, I'm like, screw this shit, man. I'm getting out of here.
I'm thinking that the MSA has to be the ones in charge of the spiritual en bloc. After the living residents have been moved up by HDB, MSA must come in and like, okay, we have to poll which of these units are still occupied, and then we have to move them one by one. So Eugene has to knock on every single unit, then go and isolate there, and then negotiate with the spirit.
By the order of MSA, you all cannot stay here. Can you all please excuse me?
Then unblock them somewhere, like go somewhere else. No? What is the Hantu BTOs? Yeah.
That's why the humans go out and Hantu BTO is over at Tanglin. That's their BTO.
Wow. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have one BTO where it's only for spirits? It's like the famous like the last bus that's only for the spirits to the humans cannot ride.
There is what John
So,
Changi.
Changi. Even the spirit don't want to travel very far. You don't take advantage just because they're not human. Somewhere more central where all the spirits can go and party.
Pearl Center, lor. They had Peace Center as well. No, they had.
True. Okay, getting ideas. MSA getting more and more legit. Yes, indeed.
Oh, check it out. Bring Me the Lion as well says, my mom is a real estate agent. She told me before, because in her early days when beggars can't be choosers, she didn't have the liberty to pick her customers. So then she chanced upon a HDB in the East. And then Change owners many times. Then she just sell off because we were still young back then.
She didn't tell the buyer that it's haunted. Because she said different people got different energy. Some people cannot see. Which is absolutely true.
True.
I bet you there are people out there living happily in their houses, totally oblivious, and the only one pissed off is the spirit who cannot get through to them.
You see what? Singapore got a few legendary homes, right? The Adrian Lim one, for example. Now it's... I don't know, is it the same owner now, but there was a Christian family that took over. Not a single haunting. Block 611, Bedok Reservoir. Remember at that point in time, people were saying that it's the most haunted block in the whole of Singapore? Because the entire block was empty. And there was no reason for it to be empty because every single estate around Kaki Bukit and Bedok Reservoir had residents. Just Block 611. If you guys remember that, my Gen X buddies. But then people all live there, what? No problem. What's the other one? That very expensive BTO built upon a cemetery? Bidadari. Oh, Bidadari haunted. Ooh, no one's going to stay there. Hello. Now you want to buy? You wait for MOP, 1 million plus, okay?
It's like back when Bukit Batok first came up. You know, I'm immortal, so I remember these times, right? You know, when Bukit Batok was freshly built, you know, wow, the stories, you know, the Amma in the lift and, you know, now still all same what? You know, when it comes to HDB, there's no way of stopping that tide. No. Goes or no goes, you better move in. Otherwise, next time don't have. You know? So we are practical. We are practical enough island, you know? Wow, okay. Interesting. Interesting.
11:30, we're almost done for the night, yeah? Any last words? I think, today's story feels quite warm and fun. It's like drinking a warm bowl of soup.
Yeah, today is not a keras night. Okay, today is a very very practical night. We are talking about policies and responsibilities of MSA and what to do, you know. And it was good that we talked about, for example, what happens when the next generation has different religions, you know, and all these are the issues that affect us socially, you know, but they are also linked to the ghost stories that we enjoy. So that is pretty much the territory of MSA lah, making social change out of ghost stories.
Vote for John. Upcoming. Which estate you're running for? Geylang, is it Geylang side?
The Hantu estate. Estate.
Well, then she was asking, you know, there are some para groups out there that's always finding Hantu. You know, if you look at Ghost Adventurers, how many seasons? 10 seasons, how many episodes? They find ghosts every other week. I don't know. I'm just not that lucky or unlucky to find it. So, I think my hit rate is like 1 in 10 or 1 in 1, definitely more than that.
Mark Shippo has a very, very valid question. Are Hantu affected by the hot weather?
I don't think so.
I mean, if you think about yin and yang, it's certainly much more yang because the bloody sun is so hot. So I would think in the daytime, just like us, I think the ghosts also sian. Lazy to come out.
Since we're onto this vibe now, ladies and gentlemen listening in, okay, before we say
Yeah.
goodnight, I'm opening up the hotline to you guys on the chat group, okay? This is the Ask MSA Anything segment. No holes barred. Anything that tickles your fancy or that itch you need to scratch, anything that you think is stupid, you don't dare ask, now is the time to ask. As your ministers or supernatural affairs, John and I, we will address all your questions. But you got the next 5 minutes to do so before we say
5
goodnight.
minutes, walao.
5 minutes to pose a question, then 5-10 minutes for us to reply. Then we say goodnight.
Oh dear. Okay. Nobody wants to ask.
No, it takes a 20 seconds lag because I'm okay. So why there's a big lag between what we say and what they're listening? Because there were times where people were asking, Eugene, can we have the closed captions, the subtitles, right? So I found a way to do it. But in order for that function to work, there's a 20 to 30 seconds lag delay between us speaking and what they see. That's for the YouTube to crunch out the CC. And Stefan have also said that when he listens to the podcast, I sound very soft compared to you, John. So I bump up my volume today, and I think people have given me the feedback that we sound great today.
Yeah. Don't have questions, Lay.
Someone says put oil on skin, makes it extra attractive. Hold on, let me show you.
Ooh, okay.
I have that as well.
Ooh, what oil is that?
It's actually a blessed oil that has some flower, and it's not Thai, by the way, so it's not chin oil. It's some by an ustad lah, or some Malay guy lah. He infused this with some scent and some oil with prayers that when you put it on your skin, it's supposed to attract the Pontianak to you. So when I was doing this with Paris Maitreya the last time, and he's like, don't put it on me. So I put on myself.
Hantu pheromones.
Yeah, hantu pheromones. And again, it's not bopao that you put it on, confirm you get the seagulls on. So hit and miss lah.
Okay, Chua Lincoln wants to ask, I want to go on hantu walk, but afraid of how likely an entity will follow me back. What can you say to reassure Chua Lincoln?
If you just go for, let's say, the hantu walk that we have, right? Although it is in a place that is supposed to be haunted, I would compare our hantu walk to something like the night safari, compared to going to the African safari where the lions are around you and can claw you to death. We are walking in a place outside of their threshold. So it is safe. You can see them across the threshold, but they're not likely to follow you back. In any case, our hantu walk has been blessed, pray, negotiated.
Yeah.
So all our participants, you are safe.
Yes, and at the end of the walk, we also do our due diligence and make sure that if anything has followed you, it will not follow you home. It will leave it behind in Changi. Okay, because like they say, whenever you visit the nature reserve or that, right? Take nothing but photos, leave nothing but footprints. Okay, we cannot afford to have Changi spirits depleted by all of you going there and each one take one hantu home. Cannot. Okay, they are endangered. These hantu. So, what hantu in Changi stays in Changi.
Or like what Dancy said, go 7-Eleven. Okay, we have hundreds of participants on our few hundreds. No one has came back to say that they have been haunted.
Yes. So don't scared, okay?
So Stephen Key, you want to sign up? Get in touch with me. My number is 9459-4931.
Yay. Got some questions about which areas in Singapore are haunted. Wow, that one will be a long episode. I think we have to work on the MSA map lah, the big MSA version of Singapore map, and just to highlight. Karina is saying. Karina is saying, I honestly highly recommend the hantu walk. I felt safe the entire time. Nothing followed us home. Also met a lot of great people and heard lots of great stories. Thank you, Karina. Yay.
Karina's back already. She's missing for so long, no?
Yay. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, this is an interesting one. Koshka is saying, my mom told me that her ex-neighbors, an elderly couple, converted to Christianity together with their kids. when they passed, they were seen begging for food around where they used to stay.
Ayo.
Oh dear. Because no one offered them anything because all Christian already. See, that's exactly what that priest was trying to convey to me, right? What happens if your relatives are of a faith that requires the next generation to do their duty, but then the next generation happily abandon them and go to some other religion? Then how? Right? How? Every 7 months, nothing, Yeah, so it's a saddening thing, lah. It's a saddening thing.
Khan asking about St. John Island. I was in St. John. We did a video adventure coverage in St. John a couple of times. I have not encountered. I mean, I know the history of St. John. I just personally have not encountered anything. Even though we went up to an abandoned old masjid, that was pretty scary. We went down to the 3 ammo base. Couldn't get any evidence.
You were not wearing your sexy oil, that's why. Yeah. Okay, Joel is asking, can I ask, if I'm Catholic, can I go to temple for help if everything disturbed and supernatural? Why not? Yeah.
It depends on you, lah, Joel. Depends on you, your family, and now I have Catholic families who have asked for help from the other side, and I think there's one beautiful confession. Remember, John, where the Catholic asked for help, and then I think a Taoist or Buddhist came, and he believed that it was his God who sent this to him. Remember that? It's all about perspective.
I mean, Joel, living in Singapore, I think there's always the option of a more liberal sort of overlap between the religions. For example, I think we've talked about this before, right? Like for a very long time, at least 100 years, people at Waterloo Street, okay, 100 years, not that long, but people at Waterloo Street, right, people who go and Pai Kuan Yin, right, and they go to the temple, will very freely go next door to the Krishna temple to pray, and then equally freely go down to the Catholic church at the other end of the street and pray to Mary there, right? Because for them, it is more important that all deities be respected and be honored rather than I choose one, you choose one, we see who wins. I think that's a rather childish way of seeing things. It's not my one better than yours. I think all are equally.
No, we are Singaporeans, we are kiasu. Why stick at one? Buy 5, then you see which one to your PayPal lah. You buy one big, one small, Saturday and Sunday and Wednesday lah.
Stronger together, okay? Stronger together.
And anyway, that's called the Street of Harmony, and in Singapore, it's actually recognized. It is a recognized practice for cross religious respect. Okay, I think MSC need to be involved with that this year. I'll talk to later. I text who do I need to text? Yeah.
Pull strings, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, GT Onizuka is asking, what do we think of Sneaky Sushi's ghost hunting? Seems like he's doing things that are not recommended, like shouting, talking loudly, shining torchlight around.
Well, to be fair, 10 years ago, I was also like Sneaky Sushi, right? So, those who have not done it, people in glass houses cannot throw stones.
We all went through that phase, lah. Yeah. When you first encounter things, you think, wow, exciting, me versus them, And then,
but to be fair to him, you've seen his very, very first episode where he was this young punk going out there, pissing ghosts off, and then you see his later videos. He, in my opinion, has evolved. He has.
Good for him.
And he's only done it in a year, So we cannot. I definitely am not too harsh on him. I see that if you give him 10 years, he might even be the next face sitting beside you, John.
Junior minister.
Yeah, junior minister
in NSA. I mean, it takes time for people to arrive at the understanding of the supernatural, and sort of letting your philosophy change over time, right? And it begins as a thrill-seeking kind of thing, which is, the phase that he began in, and then after a while you become minister lah. So there's a long journey. And I think what's important is that you take that journey rather than you stubbornly stick to that position and refuse to learn, right? So anyone who is learning, we should support them. Right, we should support the Hantu education.
Wow, I think that you guys are giving us very good questions. Thank you so much. Very intelligent questions. Lincoln is asking about when we're going to stop the Changi Walk. We'll stop the Changi Walk when Changi is going through an upgrade And apparently, based on their master plan, it was supposed to be last year.
Yeah,
but
but I think COVID delayed everything.
so 1-2 years
we
more.
bought ourselves some time. Yay.
And then there's also a question about MRT. Is there any haunted MRT stories?
Mm.
Unfortunately, I do not have enough MRT stories. I had one, which was told to us by our guest who work in the MRT tunnels. But it's not enough to have a full theme confession. But I do know that if you read through Singapore Ghost Story by Russell Lee, in the early days, they talk about Bishan and a few Woodley MRTs.
Yeah.
So they are. It's just that in my community, I don't know anything.
I think those were temporary hauntings only, and I think they resolved themselves after some time. I mean, it's also important to remember that not all hauntings are perpetual. Yeah, ghosts also got to move on. So, yeah, I think they figured it out already.
Okay. I think it's 11:45. We should call it a night. What do you think, John?
Yeah. Okay, Daily Lee Spirit is considering submitting a true story about Outram Park MRT.
Lie.
Do. Don't need to think. Okay,
Lie. Confess.
Dial the number and Vince, now then you come. Okay. Hi, Vince, hello. Okay. Don't think twice. Okay. Submit. Even if you think that your story is a bit thin or a bit short or a bit inconclusive, never mind. Submit. Okay. Because we try our best to find a way for every story to have its place. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Now we say goodbye.
Sila, you open Pandora's box. Now all the questions come. Never mind. Okay, keep the questions coming.
Okay.
We will find a chance to respond. Okay.
Yeah, can. Okay, but no, I'm glad you guys want this, and I think if this thing is going well, we might even usually at the end of every season we have the AMA session where we got 3 hour long. The one, save your questions, okay? Save your questions.
Stand alone. Okay, so if we didn't get to your question today, never mind. Hang on to it. We will get to you one day. Okay. Yes, correct. Our session. Eugene has to drink.
Yeah.
Okay. When will Ubin Walk start? Someone is asking. Okay. Still thinking. We got other plans. Ubin is not the top of our list at the moment because it's logistically very difficult.
Cost-wise, stayover, ferry, it's a bit costly.
So even if we put together a walk, the pickup rate might not be very high. So we're shelving that for the moment, but we're looking at more central and more convenient places first. But there will be new stuff coming soon.
John and I had a meeting on Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes, it was Tuesday.
And we had 4 bottles of beer. We went, we really covered, I think, 4 hours, John? 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, at least.
Solid conversation. We will have stuff for you that will be coming out in May.
Juicy.
Okay. So next week, we'll see you guys again on Friday, the 5th of April. Okay. Last words, John.
Last words. I had something just now that I said. Then I said it already. Then I said, this should be my last words. And now it's gone. I think a topical thing to say would be, just remember that when you rent a flat, you rent its ghosts.
Well, may you find the serenity to accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Good night, everybody. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.